My name is Claire Turner. I'm 44 years old. I'm a mum of 3 children. I was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma in January 2024. The journey for me started in 2023 when a shoulder injury made me start with the visits to the GP. There was no primary site of melanoma found on my skin at all. There still hasn't been, so it was a shock when I was diagnosed with melanoma. Even when I knew it was cancer, the fact that it was melanoma and there was nothing on my skin was quite shocking. I began immunotherapy immediately and it's been a roller coaster since, basically. The uncertainty, the aggression that it can sometimes come along with, reading other people's stories, sometimes I've found has had a negative effect because everybody is different, and I only know that now. I'm nearly 2 years into the journey. I'm a mum and I've got to be a mum all the way through it, and I try to keep things normal at home, and I've tried to shield the children from it as much as possible. But life has to change when you're given a diagnosis like that, and it's such a learning curve that you need to learn rapidly about, so everything has to change.
The hardest part is not being able to do anything to make it go away. Obviously there's lots of support and stepping up to a certain extent around the house and making sure everything else is ticking over to try and help Claire just focus on getting well. But it's not actually being able to do anything, physically not being able to just take it away, and that's been the most difficult thing.
I've got a friend that has got a chamber, and she lives nearly an hour away from me, was kind enough to let me use her chamber. And then it just wasn't, I was still working full time and with the children, with after school clubs, and just being present and needing to rest. I just didn't have the time to be travelling an hour each way and spending 90 minutes in a chamber. It was too time consuming. So I researched places where I could use a chamber closer to me, closer to home. Then found Oxidise, popped up in a search or on a feed, and put some feelers out. Yeah, I've got more energy and I sleep better since using a chamber regularly. I use my chamber 5 times a week for 90 minutes. I sleep better. I've reduced stress in every way that is possible to us as a family at the moment. I've reduced my working hours. I now don't work full time anymore. I use sauna once or twice a day. I've had various tests done alongside the pharmaceutical tests that the hospitals do to know where my body was deficient and what I could do to bridge that gap to help my chances. My day now is about my children, my health, and then squeezing work around that. I tend to go in fasted first thing in the morning. I'll do 90 minutes, and this little guy always comes in every morning. He bounds downstairs and straight to the back door and straight to the cabin to come straight into the chamber. He then just curls up on the carpet by my feet. I most of the time sit cross-legged in there, so he just has the carpet space to himself. But yeah, and he just curls up and goes back to sleep, and then does a big stretch and a yawn when I start to release the pressure. And then he jumps out and he does the same the next day, don't you? So relaxing. I fell asleep in the first session. It was a lying down chamber, but I have been asleep in mine as well. Yeah, they're just so peaceful. There's that time where nothing can interfere. You can take devices in there if you want to, you know. I did at the beginning. I took my laptop in there. I don't do that now. I take my phone just for the meditations that I've saved and got access to. That's what I do in there. It's reading, and there's something about having the mask on where you just know you're just doing the right thing for your body. I used it daily, concurrently, for the first few sessions, and then stopped for a long weekend and felt tired. I couldn't wait to get back in it. I missed it. I missed the time where it was just everything's down tools. You can't answer the door or sort the dog out or fold the washing, because you're in a machine that you're just still in there. Yeah, it's helped with energy, it's helped with sleep. I love it. I think everyone should have one. Everything changed from me being or feeling reliant on the hospital and the oncology time and results and scans and anxiety that surrounds both of them situations. I think when the chamber was delivered, that's when my home healing really started. It really began at that point. Take a breath. You're not alone, and in the majority of circumstances, you've got time to process, and that's what you need to do. There is an initial fight or flight activation with anything that's delivered in that context, with that news, in that environment, in a hospital environment. You need time to process and time to make decisions. That hope is real. Hope pulls you through a lot of trauma, and if you've got hope and you can cling to hope, there's always work that you can do on that. It's about joy and connection and purpose, and finding a purpose and finding the silver lining. I've found that even in the darkest depths of bad news that I've been given, there is always a silver lining. There's always something that's made me think, right, I know that now. What can we do with it? How are we going to change it? What's the future going to be like?